One moment everything feels under control. The next, it's chaos. Traffic. Bad news. That person who knows exactly how to trigger you. The pressure builds. And suddenly, your thoughts are spiraling out of control. You wonder, why is it so hard to stay calm? Why does it feel like your own mind is fighting against you? Here's the uncomfortable truth: if you don't train your mind, it will control you. But what if I told you there's another way? A path once followed by some of the wisest minds in history, a way to stay grounded, even when everything around you is falling apart. Stoic lifestyle teaches us something deceptively simple, yet deeply powerful. Peace doesn't come from what happens outside of us, it comes from how we choose to respond. And today, you'll learn how to train your mind to remain calm, focused, and grounded even in the most chaotic situations. Whether it's pressure at work, hurtful words from someone close, or a day where everything just seems to go wrong, you can learn to master your reactions. Because in the end, you only have two choices: control your mind, or be a slave to it. But before we dive into the how, let me tell you a story, the story of Thomas, a 33-year-old man living what appeared to be a stable, ordinary life. But underneath the surface, he carried a habit that was slowly eating him alive. He kept everything bottled up: work stress, subtle insults, everyday disappointments, big and small. He swallowed them all, pretending nothing was wrong. On the outside, he seemed calm. But in his mind, a hornet's nest was buzzing louder by the day. Every night, he came home, and for reasons he couldn't explain, would explode over the smallest things. The neighbors were too loud. The mail hadn't arrived. The toaster wasn't working. None of it was serious. But any one of those small sparks was enough to ignite him. Then, one warm summer evening, everything finally boiled over. His partner looked at him and said one simple sentence: "You're always angry." And then it happened: the shouting, the slammed doors, the accusations flying across the room like daggers. But that's not the most surprising part. Instead of returning home to keep fighting, Thomas kept walking. No phone, no plan, no destination. He wandered the city streets for hours, letting the night air cool his skin and his mind. Step by step, the storm inside him slowly began to settle. But something had shifted. For the first time in years, Thomas faced a hard truth, not about his partner, not about his job, but about himself. That night, he didn't go back to his apartment. He checked into a small hotel. Not because he needed space from someone else, but because he needed space from himself. He sat alone in a quiet room, staring out the window, asking himself a question he had avoided for far too long. Why am I always angry? The answer didn't come quickly, but slowly, painfully, it revealed itself. He wasn't just angry at others. He was angry at life, at the missed opportunities, at the people who let him down, at himself, for staying silent, for trying to appear strong, for pretending he was okay when he wasn't. Thomas realized he wasn't living, he was just reacting to everything, all the time. He was like a leaf in the wind, tossed around by every comment, every inconvenience, every expectation. And that night, something broke open. Not in a destructive way, but in the way a shell breaks when something inside is finally ready to grow. Thomas didn't suddenly become calm. But for the first time, he understood this truth: if you don't build an inner anchor, the storms of life will always sweep you away. That night, he made a choice, not to become someone else, but to finally become someone in control. And that's when he discovered a philosophy. One that spoke directly to his struggle. One that didn't offer sugar-coated comfort, but honest, time-tested tools. He discovered Stoic lifestyle. So how did Thomas begin to rebuild himself from the inside out? How did he go from reacting to responding? We'll explore that in the next part of his journey, and it was during those quiet, lonely hours of wandering that something unexpected happened. Around dawn, with his legs aching and his thoughts still tangled, Thomas found himself sitting on a park bench. The sky was beginning to lighten, soft blues pushing back the night. He pulled out his phone. Almost out of habit. Not expecting anything. His fingers moved without thinking. He opened YouTube, and right at the top of the screen, like it had been waiting for him, was a video titled, "You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond." He blinked. Read it again. Something about those words reached into the fog inside him. He didn't know what Stoic lifestyle meant. It sounded strange. Almost cold. But he had nothing to lose, no sleep to go back to, no clarity to cling to, so he hit play. And that was where everything began. Thomas didn't sleep that morning. Or that day. He watched video after video. He started reading about Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, Seneca. Names he had never heard before, but suddenly felt like old friends. Not because they comforted him, but because they challenged him with truths no one else dared to say. It's not things that upset us, but our opinion about them. The more power something has over you, the weaker you are before it. Choose not to be hurt, and you won't be. Thomas sat frozen. These weren't just quotes. They were mirrors. And for the first time in his life, something clicked. All those years, he'd been chasing calm like it was some magical gift certain people were born with. But now he realized, calm isn't a gift, it's a skill, a discipline, a mindset you train. From that day on, Thomas started making small changes. Nothing dramatic, nothing Instagram-worthy, but powerful. Before reacting to something, he'd pause, even just for a breath. When he wanted to complain, he'd observe instead. If he felt that tight knot rising in his chest, he'd step outside and walk until it loosened. Sure, he messed up. Sometimes anger still came knocking louder than he could ignore. But now he knew, he didn't have to answer. And little by little, without any grand announcement, without anyone around him really noticing, Thomas began to change. He became someone who didn't react to everything. Someone who didn't need to raise his voice to prove a point. Someone who understood that true control isn't loud. It's silent, steady, deep. But Thomas's journey didn't stop there. Because learning about the Stoic lifestyle is one thing, living it is something else entirely. Maybe you're not Thomas, but maybe, deep down, you've felt like him more than once. You may not have walked city streets until sunrise, but I'm willing to bet there have been moments when your mind dragged you into places you didn't want to go, moments where your thoughts spun out of control, where emotions ran ahead of reason. And maybe, just like Thomas, you're on the edge of discovering something that could change everything. Calm doesn't come when the world outside is perfect. It comes when the storm inside you finally learns to settle. And that's exactly what we're going to explore today. I'm going to teach you how to train your mind, so your peace no longer depends on traffic, your boss's mood, your inbox, or the weather. So you don't get pulled into other people's drama. So your state of mind doesn't rise and fall with every little thing. Today, you're going to learn how to build in a stillness, the kind that stays steady, even when chaos swirls around you. And trust me, if Thomas could learn it, starting with zero knowledge, in the middle of a breakdown, so can you. So, take a deep breath. Let's begin. But before we continue, if this content is bringing you real value, consider subscribing and becoming an exclusive member of this growing community. You'll unlock extra tools, behind-the-scenes content, and more resources to support your journey. And in the comments, tell us, what's one thing you will do today to take back control of your mind? Or if nothing else, simply write, I'm a Stoic. We're building this path together, one decision at a time. Now let me ask you a simple question, who's in charge here? You or your mind? I'm guessing you've had days where it didn't feel like you were in control at all. You wake up, ready to take on the world. But then, boom. One small thing goes wrong. A typo in an email. A weird look from someone. A missed deadline. Suddenly, your inner voice starts whispering, you're not good enough. You always mess things up. Someone cuts you off in traffic. And before you know it, you're yelling in your car, pulse racing. Hands gripping the wheel like it's a battlefield. You ever felt angrier in traffic than you did when your team lost the Champions League final? Yeah. That's not just you. That's your untrained mind running wild. The truth is, the mind, when left unchecked, is like a wild horse, powerful, but unpredictable. It charges in every direction, reacts without reason, pulls you into drama, regret, and fear. And worst of all, it drags you through the emotional mud and doesn't care how exhausted you are afterward. It doesn't matter whether your goal is to stay calm, make better decisions, or just live with a little less stress. If you don't take control of your mind will take control of you. So the next question is, how do you take control? In the next section, I'll walk you through simple, practical ways to start retraining your mind, using timeless lessons from the Stoic lifestyle. Now imagine this. You're in a meeting. Everything's calm. You're speaking clearly. You feel in control. The atmosphere is light, maybe even a little productive. And then, bam! Someone drops a sharp comment. It sounds like a joke, but it cuts deeper than it should. A quick jab, laced with sarcasm, dressed in a smirk. It lands like a punch to your ego. Your chest tightens, your blood heats up, your heart starts pounding. And in your head, a dozen perfect comebacks explode to the surface. You want to snap back, shut them down, put them in their place. But hold on. Is that really necessary? Or is that just your mind reacting before you've had time to even think? This, right here, is the moment where your training makes all the difference. And this is where the wisdom of Epictetus becomes more than a quote, it becomes a lifeline. He said it over 2,000 years ago. And it still holds true today. It's not things themselves that disturb us, but our interpretation of them. Let that sink in. It's not the comment, it's the meaning you gave it. Was that remark really so terrible? Or did your mind attach a meaning that triggered old insecurities? Let's take a simple example. Someone says to you, you could have done that better. Now, if your mind is in panic mode, that sentence instantly becomes, I'm not good enough. They must be disappointed in me. And just like that, you're spiraling, digging through past mistakes, second-guessing everything, and sinking into a pit of self-doubt. But what if you gave it a different meaning? What if you treated it like a neutral comment, or even better, a chance to grow? Same words, same voice. But now it becomes, okay, next time I'll do better. The difference isn't the words, it's how you interpret them. That's the real challenge. Because most of the time, we don't even realize our mind is hijacking the moment. You see, your brain is wired for survival. That primitive part of the brain, the amygdala, is built to detect threats and react instantly. But here's the catch. It doesn't know the difference between a lion in the jungle and a passive-aggressive coworker in a conference room. To your brain, danger is danger. Same adrenaline, same emotional flood. But this is where the Stoic lifestyle gives you back your power. Because once you realize your mind can overreact, you can stop letting it run the show. Calm doesn't show up by accident. It's not a personality trait. It's a muscle. It's trained, strengthened, repeated. It becomes a habit, a reflex, a new way of being. So now, the real question is, how do you actually start retraining your mind in moments like these? So how do you actually take control before your emotions take control of you? It starts with 3 simple tools, simple, but powerful, and when practiced, they can completely shift how you respond to life. Tool number 1, the 3-second pause. Whenever something sets you off, a harsh comment, a frustrating email, a missed deadline, take a breath and count to yourself. 1, 2, 3. That tiny pause, though it seems small, is enough to let your rational brain catch up, before your instincts go off the rails. It's like building a buffer between you and the emotional chaos. A moment of space, where choice returns. Tool number 2, rewrite the story you're telling yourself. Instead of instantly thinking, they disrespected me, I have to react. Pause and say, I'm not wasting my energy on this. It sounds simple, maybe even too simple. But it completely reframes how the situation lands in your body and your mind. You're not denying your feelings. You're reclaiming control of the narrative. And that shift, that's power. Tool number 3, activate observer mode. Imagine the situation as a movie. You're no longer in it, you're watching it. You see yourself, the room, the people, the moment. Now ask, how would the wisest, calmest character in history respond right now? Would they lash out over something so minor? Or would they sit back, breathe, and choose silence? That perspective pulls you out of the emotional storm and back into clarity. Because my friend, if you don't take control of your mind, something else will. And most of the time, that something else is your untrained, automatic reaction. And that's the voice that ends up hurting you the most. So the next time anger, fear, or frustration come knocking, remember this: the reins are in your hands. You choose whether to hold on, or let your emotions drag you off course. And speaking of losing control, don't let anger be the one driving. Picture this: you're cruising down the highway, peaceful, relaxed, everything steady. Then suddenly, the steering wheel jerks hard, left and right. You try to hold it steady, but it fights back. The brakes don't respond. The car speeds up. Your hands are on the wheel, but it's not listening. Panic floods in, because you realize you're no longer the one driving. That's what anger feels like. One moment, you're in control. The next, something else has taken the wheel. It drags you forward, pushes words out of your mouth you didn't mean to say, triggers reactions you'll regret hours, maybe years, later. And by the time you finally stop to breathe, to collect yourself, the damage is done. That's what anger does. It doesn't just throw your emotions out of balance, it pulls you away from your deeper self, from what you actually want: calm, clarity, the ability to handle anything with strength, without losing your center. If you need proof of how fast anger can burn everything down, just think about what happened to Will Smith at the Oscars. Everything was going beautifully. It was his night, a celebration of decades of work. He was about to receive the most prestigious award of his career. And then, Chris Rock made a joke about Will's wife. What did Will do? Nothing, because anger had already taken over. He stood up, walked straight onto the stage, and without thinking, slapped Chris across the face, live, in front of millions around the world. 1 second, one impulse, no pause, no filter, just emotion at the wheel. And just like that, years of admiration, respect, and trust fell off a cliff. Because in that moment, he didn't stop to ask himself, is this really worth it? The answer came too late. Centuries ago, Seneca warned us of exactly this. He wrote, "The one who gets angry suffers more than the one who caused the offense." Why? Because the person who throws the first jab forgets it in minutes. But you, the one who took it personally, you carry it with you. You replay it, relive it, let it eat at you for hours, days, weeks. Seneca had a rule to protect himself from becoming a slave to his anger. He gave himself time. Whenever someone tried to provoke him, he didn't respond right away. He waited. He knew, your mind does not give good advice when it's angry. So how do you take back the wheel when your emotions try to rip it from your hands? Sometimes, the most powerful thing you can do is to simply let it pass, without feeding it, without clinging to it, without giving it power. Neuroscientist Jill Bolt Taylor discovered something incredible. The biological life of anger, the actual chemical surge, lasts only 90 seconds. That's it. 90 seconds. You're telling me you can't handle 90 seconds? Come on, some YouTube ads last longer. But here's the real problem. It's not the 90 seconds. It's what you do with them. Instead of letting anger rise and fall like a wave, you feed it. You replay the scene over and over in your head. You analyze every word. You imagine what you should have said, how unfair it was, how wrong they were. And without even realizing it, you've taken 1 minute of heat and turned it into hours, days, maybe even weeks of tension and resentment. So what can you do differently? Try this. The next time that wave of heat rises, do nothing. Just notice it. Don't react. Don't speak. Don't storm off. Just Count to 90 and breathe. If you don't grab onto it, if you don't pour mental fuel into the fire, it will fade on its own. And here's something else that helps more than people realize: move. Anger isn't just mental, it's physical. You feel it in your body, in the tightening of your chest, the clenching of your jaw, the shallow breath, the urge to do something. And if you sit completely still, it builds like pressure in a boiling pot. Eventually, it explodes, often at the worst possible time. So release it. Try clenching your fists as tight as you can, then slowly opening them. It sounds small, almost silly, but that small act, it shifts your focus. It signals to your body that you're letting go of control, without losing it. And here's one more trick that comes straight from the Stoic lifestyle. Ask yourself, will this still matter a week from now? Because in the heat of the moment, everything feels massive, final, unbearable. But with just a bit of distance, a little time, you realize it wasn't worth it. So next time someone pushes your buttons, before you react, imagine your future self, a week from now, looking back at this moment. If it won't matter then, why let it own you now? And here's the final truth. If anger actually solved problems, then the loudest, most aggressive people would be the happiest on earth. But they're not. Because yelling, slamming doors, firing off texts in rage, none of that leads to peace. It just leaves wreckage. That's why the smartest choice, it's not to suppress your anger, it's to channel it. Direct that energy into something that actually matters: your growth, your self-control, your purpose. You are the one in control. And here's the truth that few people understand: calm is not for the weak. It's for winners. Now picture this: a battlefield. The ground shakes with every step. Smoke rises. Screams echo in every direction. Steel clashes against steel, like the world is tearing itself apart. It's chaos. Soldiers rush in all directions, some charging blindly, others barking orders no one hears. Confusion reigns. Fear spreads like wildfire. And then, through the noise, he appears, a warrior. But not just any warrior. He doesn't scream, he doesn't run, he doesn't flinch. He walks with purpose, with presence. His breathing is calm, his eyes are steady. While everyone around him is consumed by panic, he stays grounded. He watches, he calculates. And when he finally moves, he does so with precision. Not out of emotion, not out of rage, but out of clarity. That is true strength. That's the one the others start to notice. The one who isn't ruled by the storm, because he is the eye of the storm. Because calm isn't weakness. It's not hesitation. It's not passivity. It's command. Calm is what gives him an edge when everyone else is losing their heads. It doesn't hold him back, it guides him. It gives him power. Not just over his enemy, but over himself. Now let's zoom out. Think about the world we live in today. The louder you are, the more you interrupt, the faster you react, the more aggressively you defend your opinions. It's often mistaken as strength. But is it? Because true strength doesn't need to prove itself. It shows up silently. It stays rooted when everything else shakes. That's the heart of the Stoic lifestyle. Not to run from emotion, but to master it. So, if calm is a weapon, how do you sharpen it? In the final part of this journey, we'll bring everything together, and show you what living this mindset really looks like. Every single day you might think that losing your temper, raising your voice, or snapping back is some kind of power move. But what if it's the opposite? What if real strength lies in doing the exact opposite? What if it's not about being louder, faster, or more forceful, but about staying still when everything around you is shaking? What if the most powerful move is not reacting at all? Marcus Aurelius, one of the greatest minds behind the Stoic lifestyle, knew this better than anyone. He wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." And he didn't say that from a place of weakness. He said it as a man who commanded armies, ruled an empire, and still understood this: when you react with rage, you give away control, you hand over your power. But when you stay silent, when you pause, observe, breathe, you keep the reins in your hands. Staying calm doesn't mean you feel nothing. It means you've chosen not to feed the fire. Because the fire, the chaos, will always be there. But feeding it? That's optional. Real strength is in restraint, in keeping your ground, in acting only when it truly matters, not because your emotions demand it, but because your principles guide it. Today, we hear something similar from Simon Sinek, a modern voice of leadership. He says, true leaders aren't the ones who shout the loudest or dominate with brute force. They're the ones who stay composed in the middle of chaos. The person who, when the pressure is on, when everyone else is yelling or panicking, keeps a clear head and knows what to do, whether it's in a boardroom, a crisis, or your own kitchen. The one who stays calm becomes the one others follow. Why? Because calm is contagious. Because when others lose trust in the moment, your stillness becomes the anchor. And here's the best part, this isn't something you're born with, it's trained. It's practiced. And over time, it changes everything. So let's bring it into something real. Picture this. You're negotiating with your landlord. There's mold on your ceiling, again. You're explaining the issue. But he starts getting defensive, deflects, talks in circles, maybe even gets a little rude. Your first instinct, raise your voice, cut him off, show your anger. But that's where the difference shows, because if you stay, and here's where the Stoic lifestyle really kicks in, when you stay calm, when you speak firmly without raising your voice, something incredible happens. You don't just hold on to your dignity. You gain authority. You don't come off as weak. You come off as someone who knows exactly what they want and how to get it, without losing themselves in the process. So how do you build that kind of calm? The kind that holds strong, especially when things get messy? Let's break it down. 1. Take strategic pauses. When tension rises, in a conversation, an argument, a negotiation, your instinct might be to speak quickly, to defend, to fire back. But that's exactly when you should do the opposite. Pause. Wait just a few seconds. A short silence, well placed, carries more power than a long, emotional speech. It forces the other person to stop, to rethink, to realize they're not in control of you. You've bought yourself space, and in that space, calm is built. 2. Use the rhythm of your voice. You don't need to yell to be heard. In fact, the louder you yell, the more credibility you lose. But someone who speaks slowly, clearly, and without hesitation, that person commands a room. That person gets heard, without ever having to raise their voice. Because calm has its own volume. A quiet voice that's confident draws more attention than a loud one that's afraid. 3. Practice the Stoic gaze. This is the look of someone who refuses to be shaken. No anger, no panic, no judgment, just presence. When someone tries to provoke you, and you meet them with steady, unshaken eyes, they're disarmed. They expected heat. They expected a reaction. But what they got was your peace. And that throws them off more than any raised voice ever could. Remember the warrior we spoke about, the one who moved silently through chaos? He's not the weakest person on the field. He's the most dangerous, because he sees everything and chooses his moment. Calm is a strategy. It's not passive. It's not weakness. It's power with direction. It's what separates those who simply react from those who lead. So if you master that calm, if you can hold on to it even when the world shakes around you, you're already winning. Not just in that conversation, not just in that moment, but in life. And speaking of life, here's something you already know deep down: life isn't fair. So what? Yeah, I get it. That's not a nice thing to hear, but let's be real, from the very start, life doesn't play fair. In the final part, we'll explore what the Stoic lifestyle teaches us about unfairness, and how calm becomes your greatest weapon when life doesn't go your way. Let's finish strong. You work hard. You show up early. You stay late. You're kind, patient, and willing to sacrifice. And then, someone else, who does half of what you do, gets all the credit. You're giving it your all. And yet someone else gets ahead by cheating, by luck, by knowing the right people. Is it unfair? Absolutely. Can you change it? I'm afraid not. So now what? What do you do with that? What do you do when reality punches you in the gut, and there's nothing you can do to swing back? Because here's what you don't want to do. stay stuck. Stuck in anger, in bitterness, in constant frustration and mental chaos. And if you've followed this far, you already know, if there's one thing worth mastering in this life, it's your ability to stay calm when everything around you screams that it's unfair. Not long ago, I heard the story of a woman named Marta. She had worked as an administrative assistant in a company for over 10 years. She was sharp, reliable, always on top of things, respected, but quiet. She wasn't flashy, just consistent. When an internal promotion opened up, she applied. She had the experience. She had the track record. She'd earned it. But they gave the job to someone else. Someone who had only been there 6 months, and just happened to be related to the boss. Marta felt invisible. She felt betrayed. She felt like all her years of dedication didn't matter. And yes, it hurt a lot. But what could she do? Ask life to be fair? Yell at her boss? Lock herself in her apartment and let bitterness rot her peace? No. She understood something that Epictetus taught over 2,000 years ago. Don't ask for things to happen as you wish. Wish for them to happen as they do, and you'll find peace. That sentence didn't just become a quote in her mind. It became a compass. Because asking life to be fair is like yelling at the rain for making you wet. You can scream, complain, throw your hands in the air, but you're still soaked. Or, you can open your umbrella, accept what is, and keep walking. Marta didn't stay stuck in what she couldn't change. She didn't let resentment chain her down. She made a choice, to act from a place of calm, to protect her peace, to stay focused on her path, not someone else's shortcut. And that moment, that shift in mindset, that's when her story began to change. In the final part of this journey, I'll show you how the Stoic lifestyle turns everyday setbacks, like martyrs, into stepping stones for real power, peace, and growth. Let's bring it all home. Today, Marta works at a different company, one where her skills are valued, where her dedication is finally recognized, where she's even trusted to train new employees. Did the injustice she went through magically disappear? No. But here's what mattered more. She didn't let it steal her peace of mind. She didn't let one unfair moment write the whole story of her life. Now, put yourself in her shoes. Or better yet, think of your own life. Have you ever faced something like that? Maybe it was a scholarship you worked your heart out for, a project you poured your soul into, a conversation where you were honest, respectful, open, and still, it backfired. You didn't get what you deserved. You got ignored, overlooked, pushed aside. And your mind? It wants to explode. It yells inside, this isn't fair. You should speak up. Fight. Scream. You deserve better. And maybe you do. But if you let yourself get dragged into that mental storm, you lose more than the opportunity. You lose your clarity, your energy, your control. So here's a challenge for you. Try the acceptance challenge. Just for one day. That's it. For one full day. Try not to complain about anything. Not the traffic, not your boss, not your Wi-Fi, not the weather. Just observe, accept. Focus only on what you can control. Sounds simple? Maybe. Sounds silly? Maybe that too. But trust me, your mind will notice. It will stop chasing what isn't yours to fix. And it will start to calm down, even just a little bit. And if full acceptance feels too hard right now, then believe in something that helps you let go. Call it what you want. The universe, destiny, life itself. Or if you want to have a little fun, picture this, a Stoic GPS guiding your life. It pops up like a voice in your mind. Turn right, your boss was unfair. Keep going straight, don't stop. Recalculating. Trust it. It all makes sense. Because sometimes, that's all we really need. A little faith that there's a plan behind the chaos. A quiet belief that things are unfolding in a way we don't fully see yet. And that belief, even if it's soft, can protect your peace. So if there's one skill, one shift, one practice that will help you train your mind every single day, it's this. Stop resisting what you can't change. Because life, it won't always treat you the way you deserve. But you can always choose how to respond. Now I want to hear from you. In the comments, tell me, What's one moment in your life that felt completely unfair, and how did you handle it? Let's learn from each other. Let's build this Stoic lifestyle together. And above all, let's keep showing up strong, no matter what life throws our way. We're all here, reading your story, supporting your journey, growing alongside you. Because this isn't just a video, it's not just words on a screen. This is a community, a space to share, a place to rise together. Now, let's talk about something that most people get wrong. 5. Losing control? That's a choice. You've probably been there. You're standing in line at the supermarket, calm, patient, minding your business. And then someone walks right past everyone, cuts the line, smiles like they own the place, like nothing happened. That little smirk, it ignites something in your chest. So, what do? Do you yell, roll your eyes, boil inside for the next 20 minutes while replaying what you should have said? Or do you take a breath? Do you choose, right then and there, that this will not ruin your day? Because here's what science tells us. A study from Yale University found something powerful. When people believe they have control over their emotions, they naturally react more calmly, even under stress. Let that sink in. It's not about magic. It's not about being born with some superhuman patience gene. It's about how you think. It's a choice, a belief, that changes your biology. And yes, my friend, you can choose that too. Because no one, absolutely no one, has the power to take your peace away unless you hand it to them. Think of that. You are the gatekeeper. And again, the ancient wisdom of Epictetus, one of the cornerstones of the Stoic lifestyle, says it best. It's not enough to be insulted or harmed, you must believe you've been harmed. Which means, it's not the comment, it's not the look, it's not the passive-aggressive gesture. Those things, they're just stimuli. The real damage only happens when your mind decides to accept it as harm. So next time someone cuts the line, makes a rude remark, rolls their eyes, ask yourself, do I want to hand over the keys to my peace to this person, or will I keep them, and walk away free? Because in the end, it's not the words, it's not the gesture, it's not the event, it's what you do with it. In your mind, everything starts there, in that split-second choice where you decide what it means, where your interpretation creates your reality. And in that moment, your mind can do one of two things. It can betray you, or it can become your strongest ally. If you haven't trained your mind, it reacts for you. The amygdala, that ancient part of your brain built to detect danger, lights up. Boom. Your heart races. You snap back with sarcasm. You shut down emotionally. You spiral. One small trigger, and your entire mood derails. But what if you had a pause button, a way to stop the momentum before it wrecks your day? That's when I started using something I call emotional airplane mode. Just like when you put your phone on airplane mode, and it disconnects from the outside world. You can do the same thing with your mind. Picture this, a moment hits. Someone says something passive-aggressive. You feel the burn rising in your chest. But instead of reacting, you mentally hit an invisible switch. Everything goes quiet. No notifications, no internal rants. Just stillness. That tiny pause gives you space. Just enough to ask yourself, does this even deserve a response? Is this worth giving my energy to? Or should I just let it pass? And trust me, this has saved me more than once. Family meals? Oh, you know the ones. There's always that one person. Have you lost weight? You look tired. You should eat more. It used to get under my skin. I'd smile politely, but inside, I'd feel small, uncomfortable, and I'd carry that feeling for hours, replaying the words over and over like a bad song stuck in my head. But not anymore. Now, when I feel that rising tension in my chest, I hit emotional airplane mode. I breathe, I stay silent, and most importantly, I refuse to let that comment define how I feel. And here's the best part. The person who made the comment, they're waiting for your reaction, but you don't give it. You've reclaimed control. And if that ever feels difficult, here's a question that cuts through everything. Do I really want to give this person control over my mood? Just asking that flips the switch. It awakens your conscious mind. It calls in your Stoic lifestyle training and reminds you, you're the one behind the wheel. In the final piece of this journey, we'll tie everything together, and that's when something powerful happens. Calm starts to win, because let's be real. If we lost our cool every time someone annoyed us, we'd be walking around with the blood pressure of a volcano. Every day would feel like a battlefield. Every word, a trigger. Every inconvenience, a reason to erupt. But that's not why you're here. You're not here to explode. You're here to grow, to build strength from the inside out. So the next time someone tries to push your buttons, remember this: losing your temper isn't inevitable. It's a choice. 6. Connect with your body, calm your mind. Let's paint a picture. You're in the kitchen. The rice is boiling over. Your phone won't stop buzzing. Your inbox is flooding with unread emails. The kids are yelling. Something just crashed in the other room. And there you are, heart racing, chest tight, hands sweaty. Your mind is spinning. You feel like you're about to lose it. And the craziest part? Nothing truly serious has even happened yet. But inside, it feels like a storm's about to hit, and you're stuck in the middle of it. Your mind is off on its own, jumping from thought to thought like a roller coaster with no brakes. You don't even know why you're this anxious. You just know you can't turn it off. But what if you could? What if you had a reset button? Something to bring you back, right when everything feels like too much. Here's the truth. You don't calm your mind by thinking harder. You calm it by reconnecting with your body. And no, this isn't some random tip. A study published in the Lancet Psychiatry found that regular physical activity reduces the likelihood of experiencing severe stress by 43%. 43%. That's not a small number. That's a game changer. It's like building an invisible shield around your mind. And it makes perfect sense. When you're stuck in your thoughts, spiraling, overwhelmed, you don't need more thoughts. You need to ground yourself. Feel your feet on the floor. Move your body. Take deep, steady breaths. Step away from the whirlwind. Even something as simple as walking can do the trick. The ancient Stoic Seneca knew this too. He often spoke of the importance of engaging the body, not just the mind. Because sometimes, the best way to still the storm inside is to move through it physically. So next time you feel the chaos rising, don't fight it with your head. Anchor yourself with your body. Because that's when calm, real calm, returns. Seneca, one of the great thinkers of the Stoic lifestyle, knew this centuries ago. He wasn't just a philosopher in a robe writing pretty quotes. He lived through political chaos, exile, betrayal, real storms of life. And do you know what he recommended when the mind became too clouded? Walk. Just walk. Let your legs lead your mind. Let the body move, so the thoughts can breathe. He said something that sums it up perfectly. No wind is favorable to the one who doesn't know where they're going. Think about that for a moment. If you're in the middle of a mental storm, and you're not holding the wheel, you can't expect the wind to carry you anywhere meaningful. You'll just spin in circles, crash into things, drift further from yourself. But the moment you take a step, just one small, intentional step, you start to shift the direction of the wind. So if one day your mind is dragging you through tension, stress, pressure, noise, don't just sit there, chewing on anxious thoughts like they're gum that won't dissolve. Get up, move. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, you can try a mindful walk. No phone, no music, no podcast in your ears, just you, your footsteps, the wind on your face, the rustle of the trees, the quiet hum of the world around you. And in that stillness, something incredible happens. You begin to return to yourself. Another option? Shake it off. Yes, literally. Shake your arms, your legs, your shoulders. Roll your neck side to side. It might feel silly at first, but who cares? Because after just 30 seconds, it feels like you just peeled off a heavy coat made of cement. It's like your nervous system exhales for the first time all day. And if you're short on time, just stretch. Like a cat. You've seen them, right? They wake up, pause for a beat, and do this deep, luxurious full body stretch. Like they're waking up every single muscle in slow motion. It's simple, but it works. It pulls you back into your body, and pulls you out of the chaos in your head. In the final stretch of this journey, we'll bring it all together, every insight, every practice, and show you how to live the Stoic lifestyle in a world that's always trying to pull you off course. They stretch out long, yawn, move every part of their body with complete focus. You've seen cats do it, and now it's your turn. Try it. Stretch your arms, your neck, your back. No phone, no pressure, just presence. In just 2 minutes, you can feel more relief than even 10 positive thoughts could ever give you. Because here's the truth. Your mind might be in crisis, screaming that everything is falling apart. But if your body is calm, at least the rest of you won't panic. And on tough days, that's not just progress, that's a win. So next time your mind is in chaos, don't overthink. Start moving. Move first, breathe second, think last. You'll feel the shift. You'll come back to yourself. Because in the end, the only thing that truly takes you where you want to go is calm. And calm, it doesn't always start in your head. Sometimes it starts in your feet. 7. Calm is always an option. Let me ask you something. Has this ever happened to you? Everything feels fine, peaceful, normal, and then your brain gets suspicious. You say, "Wow, I feel calm today," and instantly a thought sneaks in. Wait. This is too calm. Did I forget something? Something bad is probably about to happen. And just like that, in seconds, you spiral, from peace to panic, from stillness to irrational anxiety. It's like your brain doesn't trust calm. Instead of enjoying it, it questions it. Sound familiar? Most people think staying calm depends on life going well. If traffic flows, if my boss is in a good mood, if nobody criticizes me today, then I can relax. But what if calm wasn't something you're given when the world behaves? What if calm was a decision you could make, even when everything around you is falling apart? The Stoic philosopher Seneca lived this truth, and he didn't write about it from a peaceful garden. He advised emperors. He survived exile. He lived under threat. He saw betrayal up close, and yet he chose calm. He once wrote, "The more power something has over you, the weaker you are in front of it." And he didn't say that to sound wise. He said it because he lived it. Can you picture it? Seneca, standing in the middle of political chaos, with his metaphorical emotional switch sewn into his toga. Someone provokes him, and he just clicks into serene mode. No drama, no explosions, just stillness, just self-command. Today, psychology calls it something else. Emotional regulation. And no, it's not some trait you're born with. It's a skill, a trainable one. So when you see someone who stays calm under pressure, who doesn't lose it when things go south, you're not seeing luck. You're seeing training. They weren't born with a magical calm chip in their brain. They've just practiced. They've failed. They've lost their temper. They've said things they regretted. But over time, they've learned how to respond instead of react. And yes, we all know someone like that. That friend who never loses it, who, in the middle of an argument, sips their coffee with perfect ease, and replies like they're reading from a script of inner peace. Sometimes it even feels like they're tuned into another frequency, and you wonder, how do they do it? They've figured something out. Calm isn't a reward, it's a choice, and losing it, it doesn't help anything. One thing that's helped me is something I call emotional plan B. What is that? It's deciding in advance how I want to react when a stressful situation shows up. Because look, we all know it's coming. There will always be traffic. There will always be rude comments. There will always be someone trying to push your buttons. But if I already know what I'll do, if I've got my emotional blueprint in place, I'm far more likely to stay in control. You can also create your own calm zone. No, it doesn't need to be a perfectly lit space, with candles, a Buddha statue, and Zen music playing in the background. Though if that's your thing, go for it. It can be something much simpler. A favorite song that calms your breath, a 5-minute walk outside, reading a few pages of a book, writing down the chaos in your head just to get it out. It's not about the ritual, it's about giving yourself a mental reset space, a place you can return to when life gets too loud. And here's a little phrase I personally come back to, especially when I feel like I'm about to snap. I can be part of the problem, or part of the solution. In that moment, I get to choose. Do I want to add more fuel to the fire, or do I want to bring peace into the room? Every single time I choose peace, everything starts to shift. Your mind will try to pull you in every direction. It'll urge you to react, to snap, to worry about things that haven't even happened. But here's the truth. Only you decide whether or not you play that game. Only you choose if you get swept away, or if you plant your feet on solid ground. And if calm is always an option, if it's there waiting quietly in the background, then why not start choosing it more often? Because the more you choose it, the easier it becomes to return to it. And the more you return to it, the freer you become. 8. You are not what happens to you. You are what you do next. My friend, life will hit you, people will disappoint you, jobs will end, plans will fail, things you counted on will vanish. But none of those things define you. What truly matters, that, right there, is your strength. And it's where everything begins. Let me tell you a story that I guarantee will shift something inside you. It's the story of Brian L. Betty Oliver, but maybe you know him by another name online. Brian Ater. From the moment Brian was born, the world handed him a list of limits: spina bifida, degenerative muscle atrophy, and a wheelchair as his constant companion since childhood. With that alone, most people would assume the path ahead was narrow, small, defined only by what he couldn't do, a life framed by limitation. But Brian, he chose something different. He didn't choose what he was given, but he did choose what to do with it. He chose to fight, not with rage, but with humor, creativity, and heart. He chose to laugh at limits. He chose to dream big. In a world that tried to shrink him one day, he turned on his camera, opened TikTok, and started creating. Not for pity, not to complain, but to express himself, fully, fearlessly, joyfully. His videos weren't just about his challenges, they were about his life. And people noticed. Millions began to follow him. And then, he did something even bolder. He stepped into the world of cinema. And the industry? It respected him. It welcomed him, celebrated him. Eventually, he was nominated for one of the most prestigious awards in Spanish film, the Goya, for Best New Actor. Can you see it now? He didn't choose his body. He didn't choose the obstacles. But he did choose how to respond. And that choice changed everything. Brian is not what happened to him. He is what he did with it. And that, my friend, is something you can do too. Because that's where the real power of a trained mind begins. A mind that doesn't fold when life turns hard. A mind that refuses to surrender. A mind that says, I can't control what happens, but I can control what happens next. Epictetus said it best. You cannot choose what happens to you, but you can choose how you respond. And that choice? It's not just a nice idea. It's the most powerful thing you own. Because if what happens to you defines you, then you're doomed to carry every mistake, every loss, every unfair moment like a scar. But if what defines you is what you do next, then you'll always have a path forward, a way to keep going, a new place to start. So now ask yourself, if bad experiences really defined who we are, then what about the millions of people who've risen despite them? If bad experiences really defined who we are, we'd all be the villains in our own stories. Think about it. With everything we've lived through, the betrayals, the harsh words, the unfair moments, the deep disappointments, we'd be throwing things out the window like in a telenovela, shouting, breaking, storming off. But we don't, because deep down, we know that's not what truly defines us. What defines you is what you choose to do after the chaos. So picture this: your best friend, the one you trusted more than anyone, goes and shares a secret they swore they'd keep. A secret so personal, it leaves you completely exposed. And because of that, you lose a relationship you truly valued. Everything crashes. Confusion, rage, hurt. Questions echo in your head that may never be answered. And right there, your mind goes wild. It fires off thoughts in every direction. How could they? I'll never trust again. Seek revenge. Shut down. Cut them out forever. And if you let those thoughts carry you away, you'll get stuck in the pain. You'll relive it over and over. You'll suffer more than you already have. But there's another way, a quieter, wiser way. And believe it or not, it starts with a pen and paper. Here's what to do. First, write down 3 things you could do in that situation, even if they feel small. Even if they seem silly. Why? Because that single act, the choice to look for a way forward, pulls you out of victim mode and puts you back in action mode. It's not about pretending everything's fine. It's about reclaiming your power to respond. And here's something else. Stop labeling everything that happens to you. Sometimes what feels like a disaster today is the very thing that pushes you to do something incredible tomorrow. That friend's betrayal, maybe it was the final push you needed to start focusing on yourself, to grow, to surround yourself with people who actually have your back. So every time something hurts, ask, what can I learn from this? If you let your mind trap you in what happened, in what didn't go to plan, you'll keep spinning in the same storm. But if you choose to move forward, to write a new ending, everything changes. So now I ask you, if you're not defined by what happens to you, but by what you do, then what story are you going to write, with exactly what you've got right now? Because your story, your real story, starts the moment you decide not to give up. And to do that, you need a strong mind, a steady mind, a calm mind. 9. Learn to breathe, and you'll master your mind. Here's something wild. The difference between freaking out and staying calm might come down to one simple thing: your breathing. And no, it's not magic. It's pure science. We breathe every day, every moment. Yet almost none of us actually pay attention to how we're doing it. And that, my friend, is where the trap lies. According to Patrick McKeown, one of the world's leading breathing experts and author of The Oxygen Advantage, most of us breathe wrong, too fast, too shallow, too high in the chest. And when we do, our nervous system stays locked in survival mode. But if we breathe right, we unlock calm, shallow breathing. What does it actually do? It tricks your body, makes it think you're face to face with a lion, ready to fight, run, or freeze. Even if all that's really in front of you is an email from your boss, or an awkward comment from a coworker, your body goes into maximum alert for things that don't deserve that level of panic. Your heart races, your chest tightens, and your mind, it loses clarity. You start overthinking, overreacting. Your thoughts spin out of control, and suddenly the smallest issue feels like a full-blown crisis. Why? Because when your breath is out of control, so is your nervous system. But, and this is powerful, when you take control of your breathing, you begin to take control of your mind too. Marcus Aurelius said it clearly in Meditations: if you are troubled by something external, it is not the thing itself that disturbs you, but your judgment of it, and you can change that judgment at any time. You see, the problem isn't always the thing, it's the meaning we give it, and how prepared our mind is to interpret it wisely. And the fastest way to change that judgment, it's not thinking harder, it's not overanalyzing, it's breathing. Because when your breath becomes steady, your judgment begins to calm down too. The other day, I was listening to a podcast by Jefferson Pfizer, a lawyer, communicator, and expert in emotional regulation, and what he shared, it hit me. He explained how in tense courtroom situations, lawyers often use manipulative questions, ones designed to provoke, to rattle the witness, to make them react fast and foolishly. For example, so, would you agree that you saw the car parking, but since you were in a hurry, you decided not to wait and hit it? Now, most people would immediately blurt out, no, that's not true. But Pfizer teaches something different. He says, pause, breathe, look them in the eye, and then respond calmly and steadily, no, that's not true. Same words, but the impact is completely different, because it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. The person who takes a breath, The one who holds steady, who doesn't rush, that's the person who commands the room. And that's exactly what you can do the next time you're in a heated argument, a high-stakes meeting, or even when everything in your personal life feels like it's collapsing. Do what Jefferson Pfizer suggests. Breathe before you respond. Give yourself just 2 seconds. That little pause, it's not just a moment, it's a turning point. It gives your mind time to return to the present, to think, to choose. And if you're at home, feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, spinning in stress or anxiety, don't underestimate the power of just one deep, steady breath, because that breath, it might be the first step back to clarity, calm, and control. You're overwhelmed, your mind is spinning in 1,000 directions. You feel like you're about to burst. But what if I told you there's a simple way to calm the storm, and it only takes a minute? Here's a technique used by many clinical psychologists, and even elite athletes, to reset the nervous system and bring back clarity. The 4-7-8 breath. It's simple, it's powerful, and you can do it right now. Wherever you are, just follow these steps. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold that breath for 7 seconds. Then exhale gently through your mouth for 8 seconds. That's one cycle. Now repeat it 4 times. That's it. This breathing method acts like an inner fire extinguisher. It cools down your nervous system. It gently pulls your body out of fight or flight mode. It's like telling your brain, hey, we're okay now. Your heart rate slows, your muscles release tension, and most importantly, your mind regains control. Because let's face it, you can't let your thoughts toss you around like a leaf in a storm. Every time something unexpected happens, only calm will take you where you truly want to go. And breathing, that's the doorway to that calm. So here's a little challenge for you, a simple experiment that might just shift your entire day. Right after this video, take just 60 seconds to focus on your breath. No phone, no distractions, just breathe in and breathe out, consciously. Watch how your chest rises. Feel the air leave your body slowly. Let yourself be present. Then come back here and tell me in the comments, how do you feel? Did you notice the shift? Because that one small action, just 1 minute of intentional breathing, might be your very first step toward building a calmer, more powerful mind. And if you're serious about building that inner strength, there's something else you'll need to master: letting go of what's behind you, and not getting trapped in what hasn't even happened yet. Because up next, we're diving into one of the biggest traps of the mind: obsessing over the past or worrying about the future. And if you've ever felt stuck replaying a mistake, or panicking over what might come, you won't want to miss what's coming. Imagine if Marcus Aurelius, Emperor of Rome, had spent every moment second-guessing himself. What if I shouldn't have passed that law? What if those troops were the wrong move? What if everyone turns against me? If he had lived like that, he'd still be sitting on his imperial couch, frozen by fear, while Rome burned outside his window. But here's the truth: most people today live exactly like that. Not on a throne, of course, but trapped in the same mental loops of what if. What if I'd taken that other job? What if this happens again? What if I lose everything I've worked for? Sound familiar? That's your mind, masterfully building imaginary disasters, and dragging you through them, as if they were already real. And what's the result? Anxiety about what might go wrong tomorrow. Sadness about what didn't go right yesterday. Regret. Fear. Paralysis. Meanwhile, the one thing that's actually in front of you, the present moment, is slipping right through your fingers. You're stuck in a time machine with no brakes. Let me tell you a story that'll hit close to home. You've been holding it together all day. Your mom insists on organizing your child's birthday party her way, choosing the colors, the guest list, even the cake flavor. Like your opinion doesn't matter. You stay polite. You smile. But inside, you're fuming. Finally, you can't hold it anymore. You grab your phone. You type out a long, honest message to your partner, venting everything you're feeling: the frustration, the helplessness, the need to feel heard. Then, you accidentally send it to your mom. Your stomach drops. You freeze. She's online. She's read it. Now your brain is in panic mode. Why did I do that? What if she's furious? What if this ruins our relationship forever? You're spiraling, but not because of the message. It's your mind that's trapping you there. And that, my friend, is the moment when Stoic lifestyle kicks in, because going over what you shouldn't have done, or fearing what might happen next, won't help. The only thing that can help is what you do now. So here's a simple tool, one you can carry with you every day, the mental anchor. Choose a small object, a ring, a coin, a bracelet, a stone in your pocket, and every time your mind starts drifting to the past, to the future, to worry, to regret, touch it, feel it between your fingers. Let it pull you back to this exact moment. Let it remind you, this is where your power is, right now. You can't rewrite the past. You can't fast forward through tomorrow. But you can ground yourself in the present and take the next step from a place of peace, not panic. Up next, we're diving deeper into how to live fully in the moment and stop letting your mind hijack your peace with every passing thought. Because calm isn't found in time travel. It's found here, right where your feet are. Your physical reminder, that little anchor in your pocket, is more than just an object. It's your signal that you're here now, that this moment is the only one that actually exists, that no amount of spiraling can change the past or predict the future. And once you've anchored yourself, here's something simple that works wonders: the 1-minute reset. For 60 seconds, just 1 minute. Focus only on what's in front of you. No fixing, no solving, no multitasking. Notice your hands, feel your breath, listen to the sounds around you, even the distant hum of a fridge or the breeze outside your window. It's like hitting the reset button inside your brain. It interrupts the noise and brings you back to the one place your power lives, the present. And when you feel more grounded, ask yourself the question that separates victims from leaders: what can I do to fix this? Not to beat yourself up, not to spiral into regret, but to take action, calm, steady, clear. If there's something you can do, do it. If not, let it go. Because there's no wisdom in chasing ghosts of mistakes or fears that haven't even arrived. Your mind will try to drag you through every dark hallway it can invent. But remember, only calm will take you where you truly want to go. And calm, it lives right here. Not in the past, not in the future, but in the present. Now get ready, because what's coming next probably isn't what you expect. It's not a complex mental technique. It's not a philosophy lecture. It's much simpler, but no less powerful. It's something ancient, something you've known your whole life, something you can do at any time, with whatever's right in front of you. And yes, it might be exactly what you need when your mind feels like a tangled, noisy mess. 11. Use your hands and clear your head. Let me ask you something real. When was the last time you actually used your hands? And no, I don't mean typing, texting, swiping, or tapping. I mean really using them. When was the last time you cooked a meal slowly, just for the joy of it? Or fixed something around the house, not out of obligation but with presence? Or drew, painted, planted, built, even if it looked messy or imperfect? These days, we live almost entirely in our heads, scrolling, thinking, planning, stressing, overthinking again. It's no wonder we're overwhelmed. Your mind becomes a crowded room, and there's no exit sign in sight. But what if I told you that the way out of that chaos wasn't in a book or a TED talk, but in your hands? As Epictetus once said, don't explain your philosophy, live it. And sometimes, living it means doing something as simple as getting out of your head and into action. Epictetus believed that worry is defeated by movement. He understood that when we sit and stew in our thoughts, we're just digging the same mental hole deeper. But when we pick up something physical, when we use our hands to create, fix, build, touch, we send a message to the mind: I'm the one in charge here. And modern science agrees. In the next part, we'll explore how this connection between hands and mind is more than just metaphor. It's a proven way to calm your nervous system, center your thoughts, and get back your clarity. So grab a tool, a pen, a pen, whatever's nearby, because it might just be your best ally on the path to mental peace. This is the Stoic lifestyle. Simple, present, intentional. Need, stir, taste, improvise. Let it be messy, let it be slow, let it be yours. Because when you're in the kitchen without distractions, when it's just your hands, your breath, and the rhythm of creation, you're not just cooking. You're calming your nervous system. You're slowing down time. You're reconnecting with the present, and with yourself. You see. What me high chicks and me high, yes. The man with the name that looks like a keyboard smash, discovered about flow state is something the Stoics lived long before it had a name. Flow is that moment when the outside world fades, when self-doubt disappears, when your mind isn't racing, because it's fully engaged. And what gets you there isn't some expensive retreat or complicated ritual. It's often the simplest things: painting, carving, writing by hand, cooking with care, shaping something real. During World War II, this wasn't just theory. Soldiers, men facing constant fear, sleepless nights, life on the edge, found refuge in the most unexpected place, their hands. In the little slivers of downtime they were given, many of them turned to manual work, whittling bits of wood, sewing, mending gear, fixing radios, sketching maps, tying knots. Tiny acts of creation in the midst of destruction. From the outside, it may have seemed like nothing, just busy work, just passing time. But from the inside, it was medicine, a way to find order in chaos, a sense of control in an uncontrollable world, and a moment of stillness when everything else was noise. Studies later showed that these soldiers, the ones who did things with their hands, suffered significantly fewer symptoms of PTSD. They processed better, they endured better, they came back more whole. Why? Because they weren't stuck in their thoughts. They were moving through them, with their hands leading the way. So what does that mean for you today? It means that when your head feels like a storm, when thoughts keep clashing like cymbals in your brain, you don't need to figure it all out mentally. You need to do something physically. I call it paper therapy. And no, you don't need to be an artist. Doodle, scribble, color like a 5-year-old. Write nonsense words until they stop meaning anything. Put on your favorite music and just let your hands move. Don't try to make it good. Try to make it real. Because what you're doing isn't art, it's release. Or go one step simpler. Grab some modeling clay. Yes, like when you were a kid. No one's watching. Roll it, twist it, squeeze it, shape it, crush it and start again. You're not sculpting a masterpiece. You're letting your nervous system breathe. Honestly, if Seneca had access to modeling clay, he might have skipped half the letters and just shaped his stress into a lion's head and crushed it. And then there's the kitchen. Not cooking for others. Not for Instagram. Not with a podcast in your ears and a timer beeping. Just you, a knife, a tomato, your breath, the smell of garlic, the heat of the pan. It's not a recipe. It's a ritual. And before you know it, you're not overwhelmed. You're here. So next time your thoughts are racing, your anxiety's loud, your day's been a mess and your mind feels like it's spiraling, don't try to think your way out. Use your hands. Reclaim your body. Return to something real. Because sometimes, the quickest path back to peace starts not in the mind, but right at your fingertips. This is the Stoic lifestyle. Simple, physical, present, and it works. Let's move to the next part, because there's one last practice that ties all of this together. One final, powerful habit that turns calm from a reaction into a way of being. On the screen it's packed with ideas, stories, and advice to help you navigate life with more wisdom and confidence. So click it. Let's keep moving forward, together. But before you go, take a breath. Not the shallow one you do between tasks. Not the tight one you've been holding all day. A real one. Inhale slowly. Hold. Exhale even slower. Now, listen. If you've made it here, if you've sat with every story, every truth, every challenge, then you've already begun something powerful. You've started training your mind. You've chosen to stay instead of escape. You've chosen to build instead of break. You've chosen to walk the Stoic path. step by steady step. And in a world that worships instant gratification, that's rare, that's real strength. So here's your final Stoic challenge. Don't just learn this, live it. Because this isn't about having the perfect reaction. It's about practicing, failing, pausing, trying again. You'll still get angry. You'll still mess up. Your mind will still spin. But now, you know what to do. You know that 3 seconds can save a relationship. That 90 seconds of breathing can stop an emotional storm. That moving your body reconnects you to your power. That creating with your hands can silence the noise. That acceptance isn't weakness, it's freedom. That calm isn't the reward, it's the choice. So make it. Choose calm right now. Write it in the comments. I choose to live in calm. Because that small sentence, typed by your hands, is a declaration, a reminder, a compass. And I'll be right there with you, reading, cheering you on. Because we're building more than just a community here. We're building a tribe of people who choose not to be slaves to chaos. People who know how to lead themselves, so they can lead others. If no one's told you this today, I'm proud of you. Not because you're perfect, but because you stayed. You stayed through the discomfort. You listened. You reflected. You showed up for yourself. And that's where true transformation begins. In the quiet moments no one sees. This might be the end of this video, but it's just the start of your journey. So keep walking, keep choosing, keep practicing. And remember, only calm will take you where you truly want to go. Until next time, take care of your mind, respect your emotions, and keep embracing your inner Stoic. We'll meet again, right where strength and serenity begin. If you've made it this far in the video, that means something. You're ready to make a shift, from reacting on impulse to responding with clarity. Remember, calm isn't something that happens when life is easy. It's something you build, step by step, from within. So the next time life throws chaos your way, when emotions rise and you feel like snapping, pause and remind yourself, you have a choice. You can choose calm. If you agree, type it in the comments, I choose calm. And if this video helped you find clarity, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to hear it too. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll keep training the mind, growing stronger, and finding true freedom.